Welcome to Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about the Ultimatum reunion. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. They come in so many fun, cute, different colors. Check out the link down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna quickly run through episode 9 because not much happened and I feel like it was very predictable, and then we're gonna get to the reunion, the good stuff. It started off with JR and Zena. Actually they started off with JR and Sandy, who met up before they had the official meetings with their original partners. And we saw in their little previews that they obviously kissed more than twice, because they added in a different scene where they kissed in the bedroom as well. That's how I was like, they found a way to mess around without being caught on camera. I think he really was going to try to run away with Sandy, and she completely burst his bubble on that. And I love to see his face crack because he was so upset. You could tell he was so upset, but he was trying to hold it back. And there's no way that he would actually blow up on Sandy because he puts her on such a high pedestal. So that's when he had to drag his feet back to Zena. I completely can believe that their relationship is fake and, you know, maybe they're a plant on this show. The fact that Zena says she's more in love with him now than when they started, like, why? This man didn't show you any differences. Like, if anything, is you pouring everything into him. But he said that he can't propose to her because he can't give her what she deserves. He was trying to act like he was getting emotional, but there was no tear. He was trying real hard to force one. And if he was emotional about anything, it was about Sandy. It definitely wasn't Zena. But even then, he just was not able to push that tear out. And I'm like, they need to dock your pay. But Zena was reading all into it. Yeah, he hasn't cried since he was 15. Girl, shut up. That man was not. And on top of that, she wasn't emotional. The fact that he did not propose to her, she wasn't upset. She wasn't crying. She almost was like, whatever. Like, I'm about to go have drinks with my girl. Like, I didn't get anything from her either. So then we have Mariah and Caleb. Turns out Caleb is only the second boyfriend she's ever had. And once again, it just falls into that narrative of she's not ready to get married. She needs to live a little bit more before she's ready to just settle down. She's so young. She's in her early 20s. But he ends up proposing to her. And I don't know. I feel like he truly should have just set her free and let her find herself. And if it's real, y'all can always circle the block. I'm currently in a circle the block relationship where we were together, we were younger, and we lived life for a few years, and then we circle back, and it made more sense now than it did then. Give each other time, and I feel like both of them like to smother each other. So then we have Sandy and Nick. Pretty much with their relationship, he was very neglectful of her in the beginning, and then when he saw that she would possibly be in a relationship with someone else, he started love bombing her and going crazy and losing it. And we'll understand why he went as far as he did when we talk about the reunion. But when he looked like he was about to reach for a ring, ready to propose, she kind of jumped back like, oh my God, like she jumped back like it was a horror movie. Apparently he wasn't even gonna pull out the ring. He was gonna pull out a letter to read to her, but when he saw that reaction, he realized that she doesn't want to marry him, so he storms off. Y'all, she's messy, but obviously he was way too unstable to be a husband, so I don't blame her. So then we have Scotty and Aria. I knew they were going to get engaged. When I saw that they were wearing matching outfits, I was like, obviously y'all planned that. He was doing all this crying and love bombing in his proposal. She accepted it, and when they were standing up there together, he said, well, we're not in a rush to actually get married. We're going to have to move to the same city and, you know, try living together first. I'm like, what's the point of all of this? What was the point? Like, I knew it was going to fall apart right then and there. So then we get to the reunion. Mariah and Caleb are still engaged. They plan to get married in the summer of 2026. and they're going to have a destination wedding. And at first I was like, 2026, that's kind of far, but you need time to plan that sort of wedding and maybe have people save up so they can come or whatever. So, okay, I'll give them that. They look like they're very happy with that. Meanwhile, Aria is sitting over to the side, literally seething, like she's boiling over. The host asks, have you talked to Aria since the experiment? And he claims that he hasn't reached out to her. And she comes back with, well, you were looking at my stories and liking them. That's not reaching out. Like, that's not having a conversation. When people bring up, oh, you were looking at my stories, do you know how many times I've just flipped through people's stories, not even really truly looking at them, just, or I've accidentally clicked one and it's just ran through everybody's story? Like, I don't know why people get so deep about stories. Like, people are just taking a magnifying glass and analyzing every single one. It's not that deep. 2, I can't believe that she is so hung up and pressed over this Napoleon Dynamite lookalike. She said that he was lurking her page and then he blocked her and then he unblocked her. And you had to have been paying very close attention to his page in order to know you were blocked. Because how would I know I was blocked from somebody's page unless I'm trying to go there? Honestly, I could be blocked by anybody, right? I would never know. She really tried to use this moment as a gotcha moment. Like, yeah, you were looking at my stories and I have screenshots. And I feel like she's probably just salty that their relationship worked out and hers didn't. Because she wanted an opening to be able to slide in and get with him. She also said that during the experiment, Mariah was calling him every single night and they would talk for hours in the bathroom. And she said it made it seem like Mariah just didn't trust him. And Mariah did say that she was blindsided by what Mariah had to say and didn't know that. I just feel like she likes to blow up the smallest things, and that's all she needed to hear to put on this dramatic performance. Nothing that Aria said that he did was out of line to me. So they started going in on Caleb and saying that he wasn't honest about the fact that he did actually have an emotional connection with Aria. And he even said, looking back on it, I guess I wasn't even honest with myself. I could see that there was more of a connection there than what I originally said. And I don't know, y'all. I really think they were blowing all of this out of proportion. Like, we've seen much worse on this show. Have y'all seen the Ultimatum South Africa? People have actually slept with each other on that show, okay? It got really bad. So her crying about him liking a story or maybe having more of an emotional connection than he thought. They didn't kiss. And he completely cut things off with her. So why are you upset about anything? Anyway, like I said, that was misery loves company with Aria, because her situation with Scotty did not work out. They are no longer engaged. And she pretty much said she only said yes to him because he was saying everything that she wanted to hear. Later on in the episode, Zena brought up the fact that she knows that he can't take rejection. So that's another reason why she went ahead and said yes. And that's never a good reason to accept a proposal. She accepted the proposal and then she broke it off the next day because he was urging her to tell her family and she didn't want to. So, she said they were moving too fast and, she wanted to slow down. And so they move in together. I'm so confused. Like, y'all want to slow your relationship down so y'all jump into moving together? Things pretty much were not going well in their relationship. She gave him the ultimatum that if they don't do therapy together, then she's going to break up with him. And they did end up going to therapy, but it was kind of like at the last minute. It was like after a year, and she was over it at that point. He was trying to make it seem like, oh no, everything has to be on your time. No, you want to do it on your time, and got your face cracked. He still lacks accountability. And she was literally crying on stage like, I have to beg you for apologies. I have to beg you to take accountability for your part in the things and how they happen. Turns out Aria was going through some pretty serious things. Her grandmother passed away, and she was really close with her grandmother, as well as her having a miscarriage. She feels that he thinks that she gave up on the relationship, but she just was going through a lot. And it doesn't sound like he was being very supportive. He said he can see what she needs, but he can't give that to her. I don't know. He kept talking about how she broke his heart, but it just sounds like you were not ready to take on that husband role. You couldn't go to couples therapy. You couldn't be there for her when she needed you the most. So how was your heart broken? She had to do what was best for her in that situation. And that's what I don't like about him. He always flips things on her, and she lets him gaslight her and make the situation her fault when he doesn't own anything. So then we have Zena and JR. So after they broke up, which I thought that's what happens if they don't propose, they're supposed to break up. That's what I thought what was supposed to happen. They did move out and get their own places, but Zena said that they just moved across the street from each other. Once again, y'all, I take all of this with a grain of salt. We're gonna go along with it, but they are a giving fake couple. So he claims that he wanted time to process things, and she wanted to pick right back up where they left off. He said that she was mad that they didn't spend Christmas together, and she said they did spend Christmas together. And he was like, well, we didn't give each other gifts. And she was like, I definitely gave you one, and you gave me one 3 days later when you felt bad about it. And pretty much she talked about all these lavish things that she did for his birthday, and then they celebrated Thanksgiving together. And all of this makes her look crazy because he publicly rejected you. Why are you still treating him like your boyfriend? I do think that at the end of the day, he's a user and an opportunist. Even though he was saying out of his mouth one thing, that, oh yeah, we need to be separate and I need space. But you're still going. Whenever she invites you somewhere, you're going with her. You're letting her pay for things and buy you gifts and go out and whatnot, wine and dine you, so he could save it. He claims that she didn't want him seeing other people because she was trying to be controlling, and she said she just simply wanted clarity as to whether he was or not. And she also said he asked to take her out for her birthday, but he canceled the night of and never rescheduled. And he told well, I was sick. And she said that was all the clarity that she needed. She said now she's able to see the red flags with him more clearly and can see that he had never had any intentions of proposing to her in the first place, and that he's a con artist. And he just kept saying, go off, go off. He didn't have no rebuttal, but go off, go off, go off. I'm surprised he didn't say, go off, sis. So right before the experiment, she said she caught him flirting with another girl in her DMs. The girl sent it to Zena, I guess. And he claims it was photoshopped. Why would somebody Photoshop DMs with you? You weren't even on this show yet. Like, is he popping on social media and I just don't know it? So they talk about the fact that he lied to her about his relationship with Sandy and pretty much downplayed everything. When she watched everything back, she was shocked. And she said that Nick reached out to her and said, well, they may have done the do. And Sandy totally denies this. I feel like Sandy is the type to deny unless you pull up actual proof, because we already know that's how JR is. He'll still even keep denying it if you show him proof. And let's not act like y'all weren't all over each other. I don't know, they were trying to act like, oh, there was more to our relationship and it wasn't all that. But every time we saw y'all were all over each other, touching each other. He was like, yeah, that was such a small part of our dynamic. No, that was your only dynamic. That was y'all's dynamic. Zena did call out Sandy for lying unprovoked to reassure her that nothing was happening. And that's another reason why I think something did happen, because you did lie unprovoked for no reason. So why wouldn't you lie to try to cover y'all's tracks? I feel like she didn't get enough smoke, but that's just me. Then they start talking about the whole situation of who told JR that Scotty said that he was doing this for a hall pass. Zena pulled up her text message proof on her nail. I guess she had her nail tech put the QR code and Nick was able to scan it and pull up the text messages. This part right here was particularly orchestrated. It seems like production was in on it. It just felt like this was supposed to be the huge moment of the reunion that kind of fell flat to me. The text messages proved that Scotty wasn't talking ish on him at all, and he knew that, and still brought it to guys' night to be messy because he wanted to bring drama to whatever relationship Scotty and Zena had. Then they show this montage of JR being very risque with the way that he was flirting with all the women. He was being very sexual and just doing the most on all the dates. The way this man was going off on Scotty and trying to act like he was such an innocent lamb with this whole hall pass situation, he got caught in 4K talking about how this situation was pretty much a hall pass for him. He got caught on camera saying it. Pretty much sealed the deal that he is a complete fraud. He's everything we thought he was. He was still trying to deny it. Oh, that was taken out of context. Sir, you said it out of your own mouth. It really doesn't matter what context it's in. And he's not even a good liar. Like, he constantly is shifty and shady. He was like that the whole season, looking around. You know, you could tell when he was lying. Like, it's not like he was really fooling anybody but Sandy, I guess. He got caught up real bad, like completely exposed. And Sandy was trying to cry her way out of it. But Sandy, you look just as bad as he does. You're not escaping the allegations either. Like, both of y'all are in this together. You trying to distance yourself from him now, it's too late. That was the bomb drop of the entire reunion. Like, I really didn't need nothing else after that. I got exactly what I needed from the reunion by this point. But then they brought out one of the runaway couples. I forgot the other couple's name. They didn't show up. But Vanessa and Dave, they decided they wanted to come back for whatever reason. I don't know what the point was. They were barely there for a week. And they start having this weird back and forth with Nick. It started from the jump. Like, she called him out from the very beginning. Like, I'm sure you want clarity on this situation. And he was like, no, not necessarily. And she was like, well, I could pull up the text message. He was like, I was like, yeah, you could give clarity, but it's not like I was just wanting it from you. And you could tell they came out with a certain energy looking for some type of camera time, because it didn't make sense why she was so hyped. She was only living with the guy for one day. Apparently when she moved in with him, he really made her uncomfortable. He reacted very poorly when he found out that Sandy and JR had kissed each other. Apparently he had a drinking problem and he was very rude and cold to her. Even when she would try to console him and help him, you know, he was mean to her. And he was just a roller coaster of emotions that day. And that kind of validated how Sandy felt being in a relationship with him. Overall, she didn't feel bad or feel the need to tell him that she left. I don't know. I feel like you could at least let somebody know. Escaping in the middle of the night feels like you were manipulated into doing it. I feel like those men got together and felt like they had the possibility of losing their girlfriend. He thought that he would find a match in there. He thought the women would like him, and they didn't. When they shut him down and he didn't get any sort of play, that's when he wanted to leave. And so the men got together and set up this plan in order to manipulate the women to go. And yes, y'all at the very least let somebody know you leaving. Yes, I don't know what happened with her and Nick. Maybe he didn't deserve it, but it just didn't. The energy didn't match what y'all gave on the show. Y'all weren't even there long enough to be that upset. Mind you, this man still has not proposed to her. The whole point of y'all coming on this show is to progress y'all relationship further. And you're trying to act like y'all in this great place, and he still hasn't proposed to you. He still hasn't fulfilled the very thing that you wanted. So You need to be having all this energy and smoke for him. And on top of that, he embarrassed you before y'all left, talking about you had all these loud, stinking farts. And that's what you get for trying to come out and embarrass Nick for no reason. Now, does Nick have his issues? Yeah. But I feel like when we get to Nick and Sandy's segment, he explained it all. He has a drinking problem. He had to go to rehab for it. And that kind of, I'm not saying it excuses it at all. He still needs to own it and take accountability. But that explains his erratic behavior. He said that he was never going to propose. He was going to read a letter, but her reaction showed her true feelings. So, that's when he ran off. Then he begged to get back with her afterwards. She told him that she told him that he needed help with alcoholism, and she took him to rehab. And she decided in a week that she didn't want to deal with that anymore and left for a trip, and they've been separate ever since. He tries to act like she was wrong for that, and she has a right to not to want to deal with that. That's a lot, to have to deal with someone with an addiction. I don't blame her. Now, is she messy? Yeah. She's very messy, and I feel like she didn't get enough smoke at this reunion. I feel like she could have been called out a lot more, but since y'all didn't do it, I don't feel the need to. He's not husband material, and she's not wife material. She ain't trying to be nobody's wife. Apparently, he's still been harassing her. That's what she said. He still harasses her to this day, even though he claims to be in a relationship and very happy. So I wonder, does the girlfriend know that? And at the very end, Sandy and JR claim they've had no contact since the show, outside of checking in with each other right afterwards. And I don't care if they have or haven't. At this point, I don't care nothing about it. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.